All right, we're at Rogue HQ, and one of the questions that we get all the time is how to trim the SR1 so that it fits right for you. Out of the box, the SR1 has an excessively long cable length that might be okay for taller people, but for most people you're going to have to trim it a little bit. And the way that you kind of decide how long to trim it is you take a step into the jump rope itself as it's shipped and kind of measure it out. So with 1 foot in, you're going to pull the cable taut and see where it lands on your body. For right now, this one lands at about my shoulder, but where you want it is about at the bottom part of your armpit. And that's where we're going to trim it to in just a second. Okay, so now, what we're going to do, we have 2 ends of the rope here, and one end's got a fixed clasp, the other end has a clasp in which we can move. So we're going to loosen that one up so that we can unscrew it, pull off the end cap, and then slide the clasp off the end. Now you can keep the clasp on if you're confident you're not going to lose it, and all we need to do is just trim the wire down now so that it fits me perfectly. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold the 2 ends, step into the bottom of the rope, and try to line it up so that I know exactly where I want to trim it without being too excessive with my trimming here. So about right there looks good. So I'm going to tighten this clasp just a little bit, hand tighten it, so I kind of have a fixed place. I'm going to take my wire snippers and I'm going to clip the jump rope and then reposition the end cap. That way I don't get scratched by the cable. I'm ready to roll. I'm going to tighten down the nut and make sure that it's going to work. Okay, now that we've got our cable cut and we've got the end cap put back on to protect the wires from scraping us up at all, I've also tightened down the clasp. Okay, you can use a little bit of Loctite if you're confident that you've cut it to the right length. Dip the screw in some Loctite and screw it back in. That way it doesn't slip on you in competition. With that said, now it's time to test out our cut. Make sure that it was at the right length. Pretty good. And one of the things that you're going to want to listen for is whether the jump rope slaps out in front of you. That's going to cause it to bounce, and maybe you can trip up a little bit easier on it. If it swings and never touches the ground, that may be just a little bit too short. When you're really proficient at double unders, that's kind of ideal, is that you don't want the jump rope to touch the floor, but you don't want it to be too short. That's how we cut the SR1 jump rope.